What a magnificent evening, afternoon, whatever, to be together to welcome Shabbat. I thought it was a bird, but it's someone hammering. In a few moments, I know the birds will start to sing because they're very attracted to Annika's voice, and they sing when Annika sings. In the meantime, we are here together, joined in community, in connection. And so let's take a deep breath in and release. Another breath in. And as you breathe in, release your shoulders. If you carry stress in your neck, try to release that a little bit. And release. Let go of your breath. One more breath in. And release. Feeling our energy change, our connection to each other, and Shabbat begin. And we're going to sing Lecha Dodi, which is on page 20. And I believe we're singing 1, 2, 5, and 9. Those are the verses. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemo teferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikadam mesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech u'mi'uri, uri shidaberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Believe it, shalom atecha, gam besimcha u'b'tohala, toch emunei am segula. Boi kala, boi kala. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lika Kala, V'nei Shabbat, Lekabela. Lecha Dodi is a song to welcome the Sabbath bride, and now we continue to welcome Shabbat by lighting our Shabbat candles and offering Kiddush. It's my pleasure to ask Gary and Sherry Dinner to come forward here in the front, and if you would like to light your own Shabbat candles, you may do so in the back. Please join us. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Want to do it? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu Tanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Our next reading is not found in your Siddur. To pray is so necessary and hard not because it requires intellect or knowledge or a big vocabulary, but because it requires of us humility. And that comes, I think, from a profound sense of one's brokenness and one's need. Not the need that causes us to cry, get me out of this trouble quick, but the need to feel every day one's life, even though one does not acknowledge it. To be related to something bigger than oneself, something more alive than oneself, something older and something not yet born that will endure through time. We turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. Please rise in body or spirit. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 31, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. We continue on page 34 with the Shema, the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha, ubechol nafshecha, v'kol me'odecha, ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Page 40. Michamocha is our song of freedom. You can find the words of the Michamocha in the book of Exodus, chapter 15. The exact verse of these words, I believe, is 15:3 or 15:5. And it's when the Israelites are crossing the Red Sea and they're singing this amazing song of gratitude to God for freeing them from slavery. And if you look at page 40, I'm going to give you just a tiny bit of a Hebrew lesson. I promise it will not be hard. I promise. If you look at the first line and the third line, and you look at the third letter, you'll see it has the third letter of the first line doesn't have a dot in it, but the third letter of the third line has a dot in it. But those are the same words, micha mocha and mika mocha, and they mean the same thing. So why was one micha mocha and one ka mocha? They both mean who. Did I count wrong? Oh my gosh. Great lesson, Rabbi Van, when I can't count. What is the right count, Ellen? Oh, and my slide's different. Sorry. Second line. So why, if they both mean who is like you, would one be ka mocha and one cha mocha? There's a wonderful midrash that's not as well known as some others, that it says that a group of Israelites, when crossing the Red Sea, they were waiting for Moses to talk to God so they could cross the Red Sea. The Pharaoh's soldiers were behind them, and they were terrified. It looked like they were all going to die because the Red Sea was in front of them, the soldiers were behind them, and what was going to happen? So they grabbed hands, hundreds and hundreds of them, and they began walking into the sea, and they began singing, "Who is like you, God?" And they walked, "Who is like you?" And when they got almost to their chin, they kept saying, "Who is like you?" But what happens when the water gets to your mouth? They started to choke on it, and they couldn't say, "Micha mocha." It came out, "Mi ka mocha." And God knew from their faith that they really believed that they could be free. And it was at that moment that God opened the sea and they could cross. And that is why it says Mika Mocha in the second line, not the third line. So let's sing about freedom together. In a moment, we'll sing Hashkivenu on page 42. I want to share with you this interpretation of Hashkivenu by an author named Sarah Stock Mayo. Help us to lie down at night in comfort, safety, and peace. May the dear children be sweet tonight and tomorrow and the day after. May the future be bright for them and for their children and for generations to come. Grant us the ability to rest after long days of work and worry. Give us the chance to let our souls be at peace, and give us the grace to know how to separate from the things we cannot control. Allow us to quiet our bodies and our minds as we drift away from the mundane and enter into a sacred dreamscape. Spread over us the shelter of your comforting presence. Help us to know that it is okay to let go, to breathe, to be, just to be. Journey with us into our sublime consciousness, and let us live in this liminal space of neither here nor there, for when we are with you, we are never truly alone. Guide us, watch over us, protect us. Allow us to rise in the morning with the fragrance of a new dawn, and to hope, to create ourselves again and again and again. Page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Page 44. We join in Vishamru, a reminder of the gift of Shabbat, the gift of Vayinafash, of being refreshed. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael ot לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וישב שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת ברית עולם. We continue with the tefillah on page 46. The tefillah begins on page 46 with a sort of resetting of our experience of prayer. Sometimes our minds wander a little bit, which is great. Sometimes we need to be pulled back in. That's what we'll do on page 46, and then we'll chant together on page 48, 50, and 52. Please rise. Adonai chesed tiftach ufi yagi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei
גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא כולה לבני בניהם למען שמו וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מחלקי חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים מחיי מתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך הסלע ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. As we prepare to sing Shalom Rav, I want to share with you a piece that is, I've shared before, a part of a poem by Wendell Berry, The Piece of Wild Things, which I share when sometimes my week has been a little stressful, and so I assume that maybe your week has also been stressful. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Shalom Rav is on page 60. With Shalom Rav, we ask for a great and abundant peace. And so as we sing Shalom Rav, we ask for peace in our own hearts for ourselves, but most especially, we ask for peace in the Middle East.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav tasim le'olam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
We turn now in our service to our prayer for healing. We often call it our Mishaberach. The words Mishaberach literally just mean who that is blessed. And so there are actually lots of different kinds of Mishaberachs, which is not Hebrew or English. So a Mishaberach can be a blessing for an anniversary, a blessing for a birthday, can also be a blessing for those whom we love who are struggling. And so at this time we offer a blessing for healing for those whom we love, whether it be a healing of body, a healing of spirit, a healing for mental illness, a healing for very difficult times in life. And so as my hand passes over the congregation, I invite you to share aloud the names of loved ones who are struggling so that we together can give them strength with all of our prayers lifted up. And if you are at home, I hope you'll share in the chat the names of loved ones. To the names that have been shared aloud, we also lift up the names in our own hearts that remain still in our hearts, and we sing together our healing prayer. If you need the words, the middle of page 253.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing, Spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We take a few moments now for silent prayer.
Yehi Ratzon Imreifi Vehegyon Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegoali Yehiu Leratzon Imreifi Vehegyon Libi Lefanecha Adonai Tzuri Adonai Tzuri Vegoali.
I'll start with a brief story. There was once a community whose rabbi was aging and near retirement. It's a community nowhere near here. The members of this community loved their rabbi, who had served them well for a very, very long time. They understood her ways. They were used to her style. They were content under her leadership. So it was with a heavy heart that they began a search for a new rabbi to replace their beloved rabbi who was going to retire. In the end, the search was anything but difficult. They decided that upon the rabbi's retirement, they would hire her daughter. They believed this would be the perfect solution. As planned, the rabbi retired, and her daughter, a new rabbi herself, began working in the congregation. However, it wasn't long before some congregants began to notice that the young rabbi's manner was different than her mother's. She followed some customs differently, solved problems in an altogether different manner. Congregants were confused. The elders of the congregation decided they needed to have a talk with this new rabbi. They needed to clarify and straighten out the situation. So they approached the new rabbi and invited her to the conference room. You never want to go in the conference room. They demanded to know the answer. Why don't you behave like your mother? Why do you do things so differently from our previous rabbi? The young rabbi thought about this for a moment, and she responded, I do exactly as my mother did and still does. My mother never imitated anyone, and I don't either. I'll let that sit with you for a moment. This young rabbi already had something that Moses, our patriarch, took a very, very long time to figure out. She had her own voice. She knew what she needed to say. When Moses, however, was a young leader and called by God, he didn't. He tried to, in fact, reject the honor entirely, telling God that he didn't have any words. He said in Hebrew, Bi Adonai lo ish divarim anochi. Please, God, I am not a man of words. Not now, not ever. I am heavy of speech and heavy of tongue. And now, several books later, we find ourselves in interesting territory. We find ourselves beginning the book of Devarim, which means words, an entire book filled with the words of Moses. Deuteronomy means words. And here we are, for many, many, many weeks, we're going to listen to Moses' voice. We're going to listen to Moses give speeches to the Israelites as he faces his own death, and the Israelites prepare to cross into the promised land. After 40 years, Moses has found his voice. This is so clear in many chapters, but in one particular phrase, right before he begins to speak, he says, Ho'il Moshe be'er et haTorah hazot. Moses began to explain this Torah. Why is this phrase so beautiful, so important? The answer comes from a wonderful commentator named Rabbi Yehuda Lieb Alter of Ger. You don't need to remember all of that because he has a nickname, and his nickname was the Sfat Emet. The Sfat Emet points to this a double meaning in the Hebrew, the word be'er, because be'er means to expand or explain. It also means a well. Moses began to well up the Torah. A well is rechargeable, ever-flowing water source, which is brought up to the surface. A good well brims over with water and never runs dry. Applying this to the analogy, Moses is no longer the man without words. He has grown in confidence and learning. By the time Moses is ready to deliver his very long speech in Devarim, he knows this. He's sure of his voice and that his voice will renew like a well. And it occurs to me that we might be able to apply this to ourselves. That we need to think of ourselves as a be'er, as those with a well. Because we live in uncertain times. And the Israelites lived in uncertain times. The Israelites were on the cusp of entering the promised land, and for them, everything was about to change. Moses' speeches, which we'll unpack for the next few months, provide meaning, faith formation, a reminder of their accomplishments, and gives them strength and vision to move into the promised land. And so we live in uncertain times. And we do not have a Moses to provide guidance or inspiration. Rather, the responsibility is on each of us to lift up our voices, to know that within each of us is a wellspring of our own voice. So let us remember the importance of our voices. Let us remember that we too have an unending source. And when in doubt, we have a be'er, a well, in each of us.
I will open my eyes. I will not look away. I will use this gift I've been given every day. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. I will give of myself. I will reach out my hand. I will use this heart I've been given to take a stand. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asanu B'Tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asanu B'Tselem Elohim. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. Change the world. Change the world.
That was by Alana Arian, right? And so was Lachadodi. It's Alana Arian night tonight. We continue with Aleinu on page 283. Please rise as able. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. We continue with our time of remembering. Our memorial meditation is not found in your Siddur. When those we love go away, they never really leave us. They are with us now, wherever we are. Those whom we have cherished live on forever, for love wraps itself around the heart. Although it's difficult now, someday beyond our tears and all the world's wrongs, beyond the clouds and all that we can see and touch, we shall understand. On this Shabbat, we remember those taken most recently from our Temple family: Gary Rand, Clifford Rogers, Michael Jerkash. And we mark the yahrzeits of Marilyn J. Berman, Marjorie Wolf Brummel, David B. Claren, Murray I. Cooper, Saul Edgert, Dave Eskenazi, Peter K. Garson, Meyer Green, Sylvia E. Green, Francis Heimel, Beverly, Bubbles, Jaffe, Hirsch, Merle W. Kahn, Charles M. Koplik, Rosa Loeb, Sydney H. Moss, Bertha G. Newman, Betty Pickus, Irving S. Rose, Edwin J. Rosewater, Helen Savrin, James M. Schulman, David Sternberger, Ruby Traub, Lillian A. Weinberger, Marguerite Backrack Wurzberger. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as together we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise as able. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra hirute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye techol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemeh dekudasha berechu, le'elam minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'imru, amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to invite Ellen Weber to come forward to share words of announcement and greetings.
Thank you. Am I on? Yeah, Rabbi Van and Anika. It was beautiful. Thank you so much. I was going to make a joke and say, okay, now everybody settle down because I have a whole lot to say. I don't. Just a couple announcements. Our tent registration is now open. If you haven't looked, do it. It's cool. Classes begin September 8th. Summer gatherings are happening on Sunday, August 11th. That's coming up. There is a hike and kibbutz, and we have talked about what to call this because they're sort of not really a hike. It's kind of more like a stroll, but a bunch of us go and walk and talk and enjoy where we are. So there's a hike and kibbutz at Jackson Field beginning at 9. It's too late to RSVP to the office. I guess they could RSVP to Ellen Ross, the other Ellen, Ellen with a Y, not two E's. And Sunday, August 17th from 5:30 to 8, there will be a celebration of the Bounty of Corn Harvest through fun, food, and games. And the address will be given when you RSVP to the office. Rise and Shine Shabbat is back for our littlest friends and their families at the Orange Library Saturday, August 17th at 10:30. They will enjoy music, crafts, and stories. Please RSVP to Rabbi Shauna. And once again, we are doing our Browns Football Squares fundraiser. It's a chance to support the temple, have some fun, maybe win a few bucks. Information is on the temple website by calling the office or contacting Michael Polster or Irv Katz. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thank you. We are going to enjoy a closing song. It is Adon Olam on page 321.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'ed Nasa V'chetzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu Yeh B'tifa Ra Ve'hu Echad Ve'en Sheni Lahamshilo Lahachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo tafkid ruchi beiti shan va'ira ve'im ruchi kviati Adonai li velo ira.
We conclude with our benediction. Please rise.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God lift up each one of us, and may God bring us shalom, peace, and wholeness. Amen. Shabbat shalom.